Question 97. Let GCF xy represent the greatest common factor of x and y. If p is a positive even integer less than 11, for what value of p does GCF p squared 81 have the greatest value? So in the first sentence they define this to represent the greatest common factor of these two numbers. Okay, and what they want us to find is what value p should be for p squared 81, the greatest common factor between p squared and 81. So there's a lot of information here and it could get a little confusing, but let's just write down what they tell us and try and make sense of it. It says p is a positive even integer less than 11. So let's write down what p could possibly be. It has to be positive, it has to be less than 11, and it has to be even, so it could be 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10. Okay, but the question involves p squared and 81, so we have to find out what p squared is then. So p squared could be any one of these squared. So 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16, 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, and 10 squared is 100. Okay, now let's make sense of the question. For what value of p does GCF p squared 81 have the greatest value? So which one of these numbers has the greatest common factor with 81? So a good place to go now would be to find out what are the factors of 81. So if we have 81, that could be 9 times 9, 3, 3, 3, 3. So that's the prime factorization of 81. So factors of 81 are any combination of the prime factors. So of course it could be 1, it could be 3, it could be 3 times 3, it could be 3 times 3 times 3, which would be 27, and then of course it could be all of them multiplied together, which would be 81. Okay, we want the greatest common factor between 81 and p squared to be as large as possible. So let's start with the largest possible factor of 81. None of these have 81 as a factor, so that's not a possibility. Okay, what about 27? 27 doesn't go into 100, 64, 36, 16, or 4, so 27 isn't a possibility. So now we'll try 9. Okay, 9 doesn't go into 100, it doesn't go into 64, it does go into 36, it doesn't go into 16, and it does go into 4. So if this was written out as GCF p squared 36, comma 81, the value of that would be the greatest common factor of 36 and 81, which in this case would be 9, and that would be the greatest value possible. So the greatest value is when p squared is 36. They want to know what value of p would make that happen, so that would be 6. So our answer is C, 6.